Good evening, everybody. How are you doing? This is Out of the Fog. I'm your boy DC, and I am so excited about tonight's episode of Out of the Fog. We have Stephanie Russell coming on. She is talking about psychological safety in the salon industry and beyond. And it is all about making sure that we're taking care of ourselves. And you're going to tune into that interview. It's going to be fantastic. Fashion plate herself. And then we got Jake Thompson from NL Now. He's the puppeteer entrepreneur doing big things at a young age, and we can't even deal with the talent and the fun we're going to have. And then, of course, we have Stuart Simpson from Half Handsome talking about Jack TV. It's all across his shirt, and you're going to see all that on the couch here tonight. It's Out of the Fog, and we'll be right back after this break. Welcome back, everybody. This is Out of the Fog. I'm your boy DC, and I love having a variety of killers on the show doing amazing things, helping so many people. And of course, Stephanie, you are one of those people.
Thank you for having me on. I'm
so excited. Oh my God, I'm so happy that you're here. And the fashion, I mean, you are ready for the TV moment. That is for sure. No big deal.
I try.
I want to start off and just ask you, what led you to your passion?
Okay, so just a moment. I could tell you the long version, but the short version is I basically started hair because I enjoyed making people feel beautiful. And then I worked with a company, and I still do. It's a global hair care brand. And I've been facilitating across North America with them. And then I realized that I just absolutely loved having people feel empowered inside. And so it kind of moved from beauty outside to beauty within.
Wow.
And so, yeah, so I do both. I get to explore everything. In the hair world, I still do hair 2 days a week, and then I facilitate across North America the other, whatever days a week. So
that's incredible.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it's interesting when we are creatives and our love of what we do deepens, and the psychological and emotional aspects really start presenting themselves the deeper we get into our craft. Do you agree?
Oh my goodness, yes. And I feel like the better we know ourselves, the deeper we get within, the more we can really hone our craft. And I think that's a huge part for artists, no matter what the field is.
So true.
Yeah.
And leave it to an artist to keep digging deeper and to keep evolving what their idea of the deeper inside self actually means. I think some of us approach life in a black and white way, where we tell ourselves that we're like this and we're not like this, and we like this and we don't like that, and we stay in that box. But I think artists, we break those boxes on purpose.
Yeah, I hope so. And I also, you just made me think about something that leads directly into what, kind of brought me here today, and that's psychological safety. And one of the things that really opens up creativity is the feeling of safety, like the feeling of being safe to be me, that it's okay to explore, it's okay to unleash myself, that kind of thing. So yeah, I think it's really aligned.
Where do we find ourselves leashed? And when do you find in a lot of the clients and folks, whether it's one side of your passion or the other, what happens in our lives that box us in or leash us up? What do you think about that?
Ooh, that's a big one. The reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, which is really helping to train people on psychological safety, is because usually it's working with teams. And one of the ways in which I ask people on how comfortable are you is, what would you do if you were on a desert island? Right? If you were on your own, you were on a desert island, how would you act? Would you care about the thing you're having fear over? Because psychological safety is all about fear, right? And so if you can answer that question and you can say, I would do exactly what I'm doing right now, you are living your truth.
Wow.
But if you're not, then if the answer is, I would only do that on a desert island, if that's the answer. I wouldn't do it if I were with my friends, family, coworkers, whatever. Then there is something that you might want to dive a little deeper into.
How do your clients find you, and how do they get in touch with you?
So I'm on Instagram, and right now it's Psychologically Safe Steph on Instagram. I also have a website, and it's called wavesociety.ca, so they can email me on either one of those.
And what does a session with you typically involve when someone is first sitting in the couch? Because as we know, in so many different things, taking the first step can be the hardest, most intimidating thing, even as exciting as it sounds on the other side. So when someone gets in front of you, virtually or in person, how do you make them feel psychologically safe?
It's all about opening up the arena so that people know what to expect. And so whether you are facilitating like myself, and I'm facilitating a program, my job is to make sure that everybody within that program knows that it's safe to be them. It's all in this setup, but that works for salons as well.
Totally.
So Psychologically Safe Salons is the program that I created because I noticed that in the salon industry, there's a couple things that happen, some nuances that I don't know if everybody really thinks about. And that is, number one, in small businesses and salons, they have trouble keeping staff. And that's because, I don't know for sure, but the research shows a lot of the salon owners, they start off with such a pure intention, right? We want to create an environment that we never had. If I like talking to salon owners, that's often what they say. I want to create this business that I didn't have when I was a stylist. And so that is a beautiful intention. And then you get into it and you're working behind the chair and you don't really have time to lead a team. And so they see a lot of people leaving. And now, especially with salon suites and things like that, I'm a suite owner, so I get it. I didn't find the environment that worked for me in a salon, but I don't want that to happen to my friends who are salon owners, to the salon owners that I'm facilitating with, and to any small business owner. I want them to be able to keep their staff. And so, it's kind of like making sure that they know what it takes to be safe leadership that inspires trust. But then DC, the other part of it is that hairstylists themselves, so there's the piece of salon owners, but then the hairstylists themselves, they listen to people's stories day in and day out.
So right.
And psychological safety has two aspects, and it is the reduction of fear and the promotion of well-being.
Wow.
And so when it comes to reducing fear, how do stylists reduce fear for their guests? So they're really facilitators. We're all facilitators in a way. They facilitate their appointments. So how do you facilitate your appointment in a way in which your client feels safe to open up, to express themselves, to truly ask for what they want, and to feel great when they leave? And then as well with themselves, what does mental well-being look like for hairstylists? And what does it look like in terms of their guests? Because they have a very unique and special relationship in which they get to be maybe even the first touch point of when somebody talks about mental health and well-being. It's a very interesting subject, and I feel very blessed to be able to bring it.
Well, I love your firsthand experience that has led you into what you do now to help your peers in that industry from a different lens. And I will say that I think that people watching this program tonight, if you think about when you go, whether you're getting a trim or you're getting foils or a brand new do, I do not think enough about the moods and moments and the well-being of the person who is fulfilling that creatively based service. And I think that this conversation is so important for me because it unlocks the reality that everyone who is fulfilling a service has emotions and realities happening, and that often the things I bring up and dump onto the person who I'm spending 20 minutes with might stay with them a lot longer than they stay with me.
I've had many conversations, and compassion fatigue is something we hear a lot in the world.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, compassion fatigue. We see it in healthcare. We see it in wellness rampantly. We see it in intimate job types, absolutely, where teams are close together, fulfilling service all day long. It could be together alone often when you are in a vocation like yours.
Well said. And compassion fatigue, one thing that they call it, which I never heard about until I did the training for this, is it's called secondary trauma. And so it's actually something that by sharing in somebody else's trauma, then we feel it.
Yeah,
and that's not something in hair school or an aesthetic school, or this is
I
for
bet not.
beauty professionals, barbers, even massage therapists.
Yes.
This program can be used for anybody who touches people physically, who
Wowee.
spends time in somebody's energy, right? And what we don't talk about is the fact of we don't learn how to have those conversations. We don't learn how to come from an eagle eye view so that we don't take it personally, we don't take on that energy, and we are then able to, just provide that service and not go home with it. I know before I had this training, I'm sure my poor husband thought a few times about, my goodness, what does this girl talk about in her salon? So what is she taking home?
I'm not going to use the word occupational hazard in a bad context, but in every vocation, we do deserve solutions and services and people like you to help us with the softer side, the more underbelly of what we do as artists. And hairstylists are as artistically oriented as any graphic designer, which is my vocation, so I get it.
Nice.
Before we break, where can folks get at you? I see your Instagram channel happening right here, Psychologically Safe Steph. That's where we want people to get a hold of you?
They can, yeah. There's a bit of an onboarding process that I like to go through to make sure that the services are for them.
Right.
They can DM me, they can email me, whatever they want. There's a link in my bio on Instagram. And I'm open to hearing from anyone, and whatever I can share is great.
You're doing amazing work, and
Thank
I
you.
hope you're proud of the impact you're having.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Come back again?
100%.
I can't wait. Guys, Psychologically Safe Steph, check her out. This is Out of the Fog, and we'll be right back after this break. Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Out of the Fog. I'm your boy DC, and I'm sitting next to who I think is one of the most famous people in Newfoundland and Labrador, and I've been seeing him on the gram, and of course here on our own station and beyond. It's the one and only Jake Thompson. What is up?
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my God, it's a pleasure, man. But I'll tell you, it's an interesting opportunity to hang out with you here on the show, of course, but also you're very exposed right now. Usually, I think in a lot of the endeavors, you find yourself communicating through others. Am I right?
Yeah, that's definitely right.
What led you into your fascination and now success with puppetry?
Yeah, so I always loved the Muppet Show and Sesame Street when I was younger, growing up. I started watching the Muppets when I was like 2 and 3 years old, and everything just sort of grew from there.
That's crazy. So, you're watching the show, but I mean, as a kid, when I'm watching it, it's like, those puppets are cool, they're fun. I never thought to myself, I want to create my own puppets and power them and have conversations with people. That's a whole other next level.
Yeah.
So what was the gateway, the doorway into you actually manifesting beyond just watching it on TV?
Yeah, so I guess I had a couple of puppets already, like just that were given to me as kids' toys, just regular little puppets. And I guess just watching the Muppet Show and having them with me and trying to, do the movements that I was seeing on TV and everything. And I just went from there to doing little puppet shows at family parties and everything. And
That's wild. Now, there's a friend here.
there is.
Are we ready to say hello?
I think we can.
Well, let's do this.
All right. And this is Clyde.
Okay.
He's one of my newest puppets
Okay.
that I've gotten recently, that I'm starting to bring out a little bit more and use on the show.
Amazing. And so, when I'm meeting Clyde, I'm like, yo, what's up, man?
Yes, all right. It's great to be here.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I want to ask you, what was it like meeting Jake?
Oh, meeting Jake. Well, it was so interesting because I got to meet Jake and all of his so many other puppet friends that he has, and getting to work with them. And it's always exciting getting to go out with Jake and do fun stuff like this.
Well, thank you so much. I'm going to hand it back to Jake, but I'm going to have
right.
maybe a question or two for you in a second, all right?
All right, sounds good.
Now, first question, the fashion. When you're thinking about creating a puppet, do you have someone in mind, a friend, someone you've met in the past? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I take inspiration from real people I've seen throughout my life,
Yeah.
but and other times they're just ideas that just come to me, and sometimes I have to think about them a little more, but...
Do you head to the knit and stitch down the street? Do you order parts away? Like, how does this happen?
Yeah, so some of my puppets I make on my own and get some help from other people, but just others come from different places across Canada and the States. Like Clyde, I designed Clyde, and he was built by a company in Alberta.
Wow. How many of these do you have?
I have a lot of puppets.
I know, I can't wait to tell me. Tell me how many.
It's over 100 when you
No
include all
way.
from little small ones right to big ones. They're all.
That's wild. How long does it take to make one?
It depends on the type, and they're all so different.
That's amazing. And so you can look at I'm sure you have a room or two where they're all sort of, presented. I think about growing up, my wrestling figurines, and that's how I would have it, or my Ninja Turtles,
Yeah.
And so I'm asking you, when you look around the room, do you feel like you power them, or do they have lives of their own?
Sometimes they have lives of their own. Yeah, they all have their own stories and personalities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's so fascinating to me and so very cool. I have to ask you a question about you. Would you say you're outgoing, or would you say that you're shy?
I'm mostly outgoing sometimes, but I'm definitely a little bit shy sometimes too.
Me too,
It's
me too.
Bit of a balance.
I use music and art to help me express myself.
Yeah.
And do you find that the puppetry is that for you?
Yeah, I find that all of my different puppet characters, no matter which ones they all have a little trait from me inside of them as well.
That's so
Most of
cool.
them.
Have you met anybody else like you who has gone into puppetry, making them, using them, performing with them, and the success they've had? Do you find there's a lot in common that you have with other folks in the industry that you're in?
Yeah, in the puppetry industry, it's kind of how most people come up through it, is the same way. Start watching The Muppet Show and inspiration from Jim Henson.
Yes. I mean, what an amazing legacy he's left. Am I right?
Yeah.
When you look at where you are in your career, and by the way, when did you start again?
I started when I was 12 with my show here on Rogers.
But I'll tell you what, Stuart from Half Handsome, he'd be great to have on the show too. Has he been on it yet?
He hasn't.
Well, then he and I can stand over in the shadows and sulk until further notice. Who's your favorite guest that you've had on that you've had the most fun with, or someone that you've had the most fun with?
Yeah, it's always a difficult question.
Yeah, I
and,
bet.
I find the answer always changes depending on who I'm thinking about on that day. But there's been lots of people that have been really fun to work with. But Rick Mercer, he's always been. I've had him on twice, and he's always really fun because he's always up for anything when we want to do like a little fun intro with him and the puppets and stuff like that.
That's sick. That's so cool. I'll tell you what, watching the shows, and Mike Wall was on one.
Yes, Mike Wall.
Who we love. He's doing great things in TV as well. What motivates you, and what keeps you excited about what's next?
Yeah, I guess just seeing how quickly everything is growing for me with all the popularity of the show, that keeps me motivated to want to create more and move on and do different things.
And I wonder what that even is, because to be in your senior year of high school and to have accomplished so much and to have tapped into something so rare and unique here in this province that everyone has such an appreciation for, that must make you feel pretty proud.
Yeah, it definitely does.
And as a creator as well, some people, they pick a craft or a subset of performance and they pine away, honing and honing for years to get to that point. And you have definitely found the fast track into recognition. I mean, I can only wonder what you're doing to pave the way for others, and have other folks reached out to you being interested in getting into the same thing as well?
Yeah, I've definitely heard from quite a few people locally and across the country that have said that they've seen NL Now, and now they're interested in puppetry as well. So it's
and also the province and the people of it as well, right? Because yes, the puppetry and your talent is amazing, and the guests, but what you're doing is you are showing Newfoundland to the world in a different way that no one's doing. I love that. So cool. So listen, I can bother you all day with what's next and everything else, but I mean, I'm sure between school life and all the work you do with performance and the 2 TV shows, by the way, I mean, you are a busy guy. I think a lot of people are very proud of you and really excited about where it's going for you next. Anything you want to say to the viewers at home who love the show, who tune in and are following your career as it blooms?
Yeah, I'd like to say thank you to everyone who already watches and supports the show, and hopefully we'll all stick around to see everything that's coming up.
That's wicked, man. I can't wait to see. So thank you so much. Will you come back again and hang out with us?
Yes, of course.
I love it. And see you later there, brother. Thank you, Clyde. Mr. Washington, I should say. Guys, what can I tell you? I'm so lucky to be able to have wicked guests doing cool things. Jake is so one of those people. Check out NL Now on Rogers TV. Check him out online. Follow him and see everything he's doing, because he is just getting started. This is Out of the Fog. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back, everybody. This is Out of the Fog, and like I said before the break, we got an all-star lineup of people making good things happen. You're number one, baby.
I'm number one? I mean, I always knew it in my heart,
You're
Donnie, but like for you to say it, it means a lot.
Hercules. Stuart, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty great, man. It's nice to be here with you.
Well, I'll tell you what, for anyone who's looking at this guy here and being like, oh, I know him. Yes, of course you know. He's a writer. He works in all of the creative fields, comedy and production. And I want to talk first, what led you into Half Handsome, which is the title of your troupe?
It is. Half Handsome was a group we started when I was at Grenfell. It was a radio program that we did on Bay of Islands, and then it turned into an improv group, and then it turned into a production group, and just kind of snowballed from there. We did a show in St. John's that sold out called Almost Famous.
That's right.
That went really
That was huge.
gangbusters.
That was crazy.
People loved that. It's very our style, and we kind of fine-tune our style through that, and sketch was something that we found was just the vocabulary we used. It was the language we talked in. Yeah. Everything we said, oh, that would make a good sketch. Oh, that would make a good sketch. And we just found it was a great vessel to talk about whatever we wanted to talk about without feeling like we had to be too safe.
So I can only imagine doing these projects and working through, from the radio show into the improv group into the sellout show. That must have excited you about what you guys could do next.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of like opened a horizon for us to go. We've kind of focused on theater for so long, like why not kind of try and transition to the screen,
right?
And so we kind of approached some different people, and we talked about it with, our collaborators that we work with a lot. And we actually approached Mary Walsh and kind of asked her if she'd be interested in doing a project with us. She got back like that and was like, would love to.
So cool.
And we started talking with Belle, and before we knew it, we were in the works of making our very first TV show.
And let's talk about it.
Jack TV is what we called it.
Give me the W5, what, the why, the how.
Right. Okay, so basically it started off, as I said, we're sketch comedians. We love doing sketch. We love talking about a million different things in one show. But obviously sketch is a little bit, it's a little elaborate. You've got to have a different set, a different costume, a different character for every single sketch you're doing. Not exactly feasible on a low budget cable access kind of show.
Right.
So that was kind of the parameters we were given, and we were going, well, why don't we do a show about a guy who wants to make a bunch of different versions of shows, but doesn't have the money to do it?
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the premise that started us off on the road to Jack TV.
Boom, check out that shirt.
How we were just talking before the cameras came up about art imitating life and life imitating art.
Indeed.
And that's kind of what happened with this project was we created this character, Jack Hiscock, who gets it in his mind that he is going to be reality television's next greatest star. The next Jeff Probst or the next Tom Bergeron, He's going to change the face of reality television forever. But he's a little bit addled, and he's a little bit chaotic. And so in his attempts, he's constantly changing and roping different people into the project, and it gets a little out of hand.
So, when we talk about this as a series, how many episodes?
6 10-minute episodes.
Okay.
It's available on Bell 5 TV.
Love.
And basically what happens is from episode to episode, he starts off with an idea of what he's going to do, and by the end of the episode, something happens that sets him on a different path. So to give you kind of an idea of how it works, the first episode, he ropes his buddy JT into making a home reno show, HGTV style, Property Brothers kind of a thing. And so he kind of goes about his business trying to do that, and a dead body falls out of the closet when they're looking through, or what he thinks is a dead body. And his buddy JT is terrified, thinks they should call the cop, but no, not Jack. This is an opportunity. And he says, have you ever heard of a show called Ghost Hunters? And he figures we'll do a haunted house kind of.
And it goes this way.
And then it goes that way for the second episode, and then so on and so forth. The snowball keeps rolling and rolling and rolling, and his relationships with everybody he draws into his chaos gets more and more strained.
I love it.
Yeah.
When you tell me this, everything reminds us of something. And is he aware of his chaos?
He's about aware of his chaos as the way I would like kind of associate him, and like one of the big influences on the style of the show was like The Office, Steve Carell.
You're reading my mind.
Michael Scott kind of a character.
Exactly where.
Very much so. He's very much in the vein of Michael Scott, in that idea that he gets wrapped up in these ideas and he kind of loses himself in these moments and cannot see through. He can't see the forest through the trees. But boy, do the trees look good, you know?
Yeah. I'm telling you what, I love this and I cannot wait to see this. What about this investment of your time and talent and passion makes you the most proud?
I guess what I would say is the fact that the way it came out was really how me and Andrew, that's my writing partner, Andrew Tremblett, we wrote and we starred in it and we produced it together. And we got to have our hands on the editing process. We were kind of involved with the directing with Mary. You know, Mary did all 6 episodes with us, but we were able to kind of have a real one-on-one experience with her, which was great. You know, she saw that we had a clear vision of what it was going to be, and so we were able to bring both of our comedy geniuses to the project.
Listen, I want to say thank you so much for coming on. Will you come back again and talk about new projects and keep us up to date about what's happening with Jack TV as it unfolds?
Most definitely.
I love it.
Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you so much. Come back again.
Definitely.
Guys, Stuart, Half Handsome, Jack TV, Mary Walsh, Andrew Tremblett. I mean, it's right here. It's right here. This is Out of the Fog. Eat it up. More, please. This is Out of the Fog, guys. We'll be right back after this break. Hey guys, what's up? This is Out of the Fog, and what can I tell you? We had such a wicked show tonight. Clyde, I thought you took off, man.
No, I stuck around for a little while.
Listen, I want to tell you what, I had a wicked time meeting you, and of course, Jake. Could he be any cooler?
I know.
Right? Well, you know.
Yes.
Well, he's not just saying that. I think he has a reason that he's sort of hyping Jake. But I'll tell you what, guys, so great to be hanging out with Jake tonight, and of course, our new friend, and of course, Stephanie and Stuart. Out of the Fog is a show that brings so many of us together, and I'm so thankful. So I'm gonna hang out and catch up with my boy, and we'll see you next time. So anyway, like I was saying.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
If you have a comment about this program, we'd love to hear it. Email or call us, or send us your feedback through social media.
When an impaired driver killed my brother DJ, my life changed forever. Life has changed for all of us during the pandemic, and many people are turning to